Welcome to Comp371 presentation for SuperGroup Business Intelligence Tool for analyzing short-term stock price forecasting by machine learning algorithms for Professor Yuri Kimilevsky. Team SuperGroup, Akarshi, Ayman, Shifat, Tejveer, and Jasper. We will first go over the software stack, which with the motherboard dying yesterday, had to be recreated from scratch, and luckily, with high cohesion and low coupling, we could switch out software components as needed. So we switched out Debian with Ubuntu because there was one lying around. Python virtual environments were not working, so we put in a virtual machine from VirtualBox to get our LAMP stack, Apache, MariaDB, a drop-in from MySQL, PHP. And for the Docker application metabase, it was not functioning properly either with this new combination of software, so we swapped that out for Java. So there's some interesting new components, but it all seems to be working. And PHP MyAdmin still works, and that is what we use to clean the data and import the data. And I have Tesla imported so far. So the BI tool, this is our landing page where you can choose which stock you want to look at. And so here we can get our historical graphs with lots of information and visuals generated on the fly for you. And once you've looked at that, you can go and get some news to see what is affecting your pricing. Tesla is suing Sweden. Super is adopting Tesla. I can click on it. Oh, look at that. Tesla suing Sweden. Then we can get some real-time data. And these are the last 10 closing prices, up and down a little bit, from Friday when the stock market was open. Today is Saturday, December 2nd. And then we implemented our own graph as well as Metabase's graphics. So here we have open prices, close prices, highs and lows, and then we would implement how far back you want it to look and if you want to exclude or include more prices. So let's go look at the classes. So the get news, we got our sources from News API, GitHub, Python requests. We only used the requests library. It's only additional library used. Using the model view controller pattern. We have data and business logic in the first part of the class there. Some standard setup, defining what we need to get from our news, date, time, link. And then we have the view for the display and the controller for the communication. And then we call them in the model and the view. There we go. And that is the get news API or class. And then the polymorphic class we made here. Use a few more libraries, but they are all built in. CGI, except for CGI. The CGI TB had to be installed via pip. So we got the information from the library source, YFinance, Matplotlib, mostly from Python and py.org, written by Jasper, Akarshi, and Shifat. Here we have we implement a not implemented error is how Python natively does polymorphing, so it does not allow the stock data class to be implemented, and instead you're forced to do it for the graph display. And the stock graph generates and displays a graph, and then the other class has to generate its own class for display of stock, price graph, and then graph display and text display. So it breaks it into two classes. Generate stock and generate text. Yeah. Boom. So those are the polymorphic pattern we used. And then the singleton pattern here. It's a bit more complicated. So what we do, we just use an iframe from the metabase, but because that's pretty heavy, if you were to pay for access, which you would if you were to put this in production, you would have the automatically generated images. It would be a lot of overhead if you initiated every time you called the class, but instead you do a lazy instantiation, a lazy singleton class that is available everywhere, and it checks to see if it's been instantiated. If it is none, then you can return it, but it's empty. And then down to the bottom here, the object creation happens when we call the iframe get instance, but not until then. So when you actually hit the button. And that is our implementation and presentation for Comp371. Thank you very much.